So I'm doing a reading on whether Michael Jackson was guilty or not of the allegations that many have told about him. And the World Card came out, and obviously this is about him being a public figure and how the whole world knew him. So it could have a lot definitely to do with his fame and how important he was to the world. Now, the Knight of Swords clarifies the world card, so this does make me think that he was a little bit reckless with what he did. Now, the Knight of Swords is like, with the world card, very, he's a very ambitious person, but sometimes he can create a lot of misunderstanding simply because he is, it's almost like he's living in a different world than other people. So like he had access to basically the whole world, and because of that, he could do a lot of things that were kind of like reckless. Now the Knight of Swords is a play instead of a reverse. So I do think that he thought he had everyone's like best interest at heart. This is all for entertainment purposes only, but I don't want to like, these are very serious things. So with the World Card and the Knight of Swords, his fame had and his platform had a lot to do with everything. Sometimes he could do things without even thinking of how it would come across. Now with the Four of Pentacles, he definitely felt like it was for money. He definitely felt like people were trying to take a lot from him. And he was kind of open to the world, but he had to take a step back. His star power, his fame had a lot to do with the allegations, as well as his money, as well. I do see that. So, I'm not accusing anyone of anything, but this is just a general. His fame and his impact on the world had a lot to do with the allegations. And yes, there were greedy people involved. There were people who wanted to control him. There were people who wanted to possess him. There were people who wanted to possess his fame and his star power, wanted to keep in control. They were vultures. And they were using him. And they could have had a part to play in his end as well. And in many of the harsh things that he had to deal with in many of his transitions in life. And these people could have been like going against him. Maybe he did something that was not against their wishes, so they wanted to end his career. And I'm not saying that the allegations were false, but I'm not saying they were real either. Because I don't want to like come to a definitive conclusion, because that's just wrong. This is a serious thing, and I'm not going to say, oh no, he was guilty, or oh no, he wasn't guilty, because that's just not exactly intelligent to do. So, but I do know that his fame and his worldly impact played a huge part in it. And there were people who did have it. They wanted to suck him dry. They were vampires. And again, he was too open. to people. Yeah, he really did have a nurturing instinct. Michael Jackson, he really did have a nurturing instinct, and he really was interested in just giving out love. He was kind of like motherly, very nurturing, very caring. Um, and but eventually things became too much for him. He could sometimes overextend. He could have been a people pleaser too. Like, things definitely got chaotic due to his open personality and due to how much love that he naturally gave off to the world. But it could have had a lot to do with his close circle, even his family. And it's like, he was going places, definitely. Very successful. He definitely broke apart from the Jackson 5 to become even more well received. But definitely the allegations, there could be a connection to his family as well as his mom and dad for some reason. I don't know why that is, but for some reason there's a connection here. But he definitely had big goals and a big plans for his life, or just for life in general. Now the King of Wands and the Strength card. Definitely had a lot to do with the power that he held in his life. It's like the power that he held created a lot of challenges. I mean, I'm not really saying anything completely new, I guess. But, like, these are like, it's kind of challenging to do readings on things like this. But I'm seeing it had a lot to do with his fame, but it also had a lot to do with his connections as well as his family. And again, I do see that people just wanted to, like, people hated the things that he could do, whether you believe the allegations or not. And it's like, again, despite his mass fame, even if okay, I do think that Michael Jackson definitely thought that he was telling the truth. He did think that he was innocent, but it's like he felt as though no one would believe him, even when he would tell the truth. He really felt very sad, and he definitely wanted to withdraw from the world. It really brought him out of his comfort zone. And it really also kind of brought him down to reality. And that may have really disappointed him. There could definitely be, someone could have warned him about this, but also he was definitely worried about, like, his stability and even his long-term vision as well. He was definitely a very sensitive person. There could have been a woman who definitely was warning him about these things, though. And she could have detached from him because of this. She was more realistic. She was more logical, I guess you could say. Yeah, this could have been like a lover or someone a part of his family who basically warned him about what was going to happen if he keeps on doing the things that he do, if he keeps on going down the path that he's going down. He definitely felt very lonely a lot of the times. And very misunderstood. And maybe he was also kind of hard headed at times too. Let's see, I'm gonna clarify the card somewhere. Yeah, he had a lot of grief and a lot of feelings of loss. A lot of sadness. Even when he was being offered help, it's like he just didn't even see it. It's like he felt a lot of regret. Very misunderstood. Couldn't see the positive side to the situation. Yeah, it definitely had a lot to do with his success, though. And just his legacy, and of course he did win the case. I will say that it was a long battle, and he did win the case. But even then, it still left an effect on him, a negative effect on him. Yeah. Yeah. So it really did hurt him. It stung him. Because I think, was he religious? I think he believed in God. And he just hates that he felt rejected. He felt kind of like a freak. He felt like a freak. And he was really worried about what people would think about him. He was worried about what people would think about him. And the information that people were spreading about him. Because he did just want to conform to society. But he felt so different and he felt so weird. Yeah. He was like, there's a lot of, he could have been like emotionally codependent, and enmeshed. He definitely wasn't in the right environment. He was too sensitive because there was a lot of greedy people who just wanted money. And wanted his money, but he just wanted to be loved and to love. But I will say this, he could have been corrupted too if he didn't keep his waters pure. So you really gotta watch your influences and watch your surroundings, because when you're a very sensitive person, that can be your end. Water can get corrupted very easily. Water can get polluted very easily, and that would harm other people. So when you have a lot of sensitivity, you definitely need to keep that protected and can't be too open to everything. Because that can even drive you down to, like, even if you're innocent, water energy, and he was a Pisces rising and a Pisces moon. Water energy, there are people who will believe that can create like an illusion energy. That can create an energy where it can be, when it comes to the public, that's why people are so polarized about what happened, because he was very loving, he was very sensitive, and people couldn't believe that he did those things. But then with water energy, that can create also a polarization where, yes, he should have had better boundaries. He shouldn't have just, he really just lacked boundaries. He was very enmeshed. And because of that, that's how he really went into the situations. And at some point, you do have to take accountability that about that, because as water energy, he had a lot of water energy that can get corrupted very easily. That's one of the downsides of having a lot of water energy. Water can be polluted very easily. I don't clarify the I don't clarify the four ones. Yeah, he was definitely like, people were out to get him. People were out to ruin his reputation. These people, they could have had like control, and they could have been people in power, but they really tried to get him as best as they could. They were getting the biggest thing possible to basically just turn everyone against him. Now, again, I'm not gonna say whether he is innocent or not, but this definitely does explain his psychology. And it explains how when you're famous and you have a lot of power, that can turn against you very easily. And he didn't really have the greatest home life, and that definitely contributed to why he was a little bit out of touch. He was a little bit out of touch with reality and what he should and shouldn't do, and he should have had better boundaries. But yeah, people were definitely out to ruin him, though, I will say that. He, but overall, he did win the case. And that is something that Three of Pentacles is collaboration, Four of Wands is celebration, so everything did work out for him in the end. So I wouldn't be surprised if he did not actually do the allegations I said, because of this though. But I'm not going to like jump to any thing right now.